Welcome in, everybody. I'm Joey. So this week on Let's Get Fucked Up in Forza, because that's basically what this is becoming, we've got R-Class, and I needed to find a car to build. And once I got to the Ferraris, I found a car that I would marry and have children with. It's the 1970 Ferrari 512S. That pixelated shadow looks good too.
Racing game of the year, dude!
So this thing's got some history. It took part in the Manufacturers World Championship in 1970 and 71, taking home wins at Kyalami and Sebring. So we got a winner here. It's got a 5-liter V12, putting out 550 horsepower, and it can do a top speed of 211 miles per hour. That'll blow your dick off back in the day, and today honestly too. But my monkey brain ignored that history, so I painted it black and put a Batman symbol on it, because let's be honest, come on, it looks like a Batmobile. Okay, here we go. Race number 1 for the Batmobile, pretty fittingly at night at Maple Valley, starting in the middle of the pack, and right off the bat you can see the launch on this thing is nice. The only problem is I couldn't upgrade it all the way to the top of R-Class, so we're losing a couple of PI, but it should be a decent car nonetheless, almost running into that Formula car, who just added another sick clip to his drifting montage. Unfortunately, I think we took a guy out in my attempt to avoid colliding with him. I've gotten so many penalties by trying to avoid collisions with other people. It's pretty ridiculous there. I probably deserve that penalty. A couple of tenths for running off the track, and then the Corvette rejoins the track, immediately gets to the middle, and nearly kills me. So not the greatest rejoin there. Usually my reflexes would be a little better, but Batman had a few beers up to this point, so maybe the reflexes were going downhill a little bit. The Corvette up ahead just shoving the Porsche aside. That'll help me gain another position, and then we'll try to go after this Corvette, but not before we've got a Porsche that I thought was pulling over to the right side. So I ended up mowing a bit of the lawn there. Luckily, no major collision, and we can keep on going. Around this uphill carousel, we're going to go ahead and get that position from the Porsche, and then a little bit farther ahead, one of the coolest overtakes I've ever done. These two esports legends synchronously hitting the wall on opposite sides with a nice little path for me to just slide right on through, making me feel like a nice esports pro, I gotta say. Like most things, it wouldn't last forever. As you can see there, it started to rain. I didn't go into the pits, and in fact, it wouldn't last more than a couple of laps because, well, the medium tires really letting me down, and so are my driving skills because, well, I couldn't get off the wall, and then I get hit so hard, my head goes out my ass, and I'm just left spinning round and round like a messed up merry-go-round. And then eventually, later on, it turns out it's hard to drive when your head's gone out your ass. And I hit another tire wall and quit. Over to Indy, where a couple things are going to happen right off the bat. We've got this Porsche that cuts across the track and immediately hits someone because they're in AI mode or whatever. And then this guy just spins and takes out probably half the field behind me. It's like someone dropped a bomb in Mario Kart and just takes everybody out in the vicinity. Oh, well, bonjour, head ass. Nice move there. Please, by all means, feel free to consider brakes and turn 1 both optional. It's not like anyone's using those anyways, and Forza lovingly gives me an 8/10 penalty for getting rammed and pushed off the track. Absolutely sick stuff from Forza. Couldn't be more excited to finish this one off, but like any good hero, I'm going to continue. I'm not going to quit like I did first race, and we'll see what happens. We'll try to make the best of what we've got. So immediately we've got a couple of guys off the track. One of them makes the most epic cut across the entire track, really turning this into lawn mowing simulator. And I managed to get up into 8th place, so not too shabby. We'll skip ahead to the straight. Beginning of lap 2, we managed to get one overtake done on the straight, and into turn 1 we've got a battle with a Ferrari and an Aston Martin up ahead. A small tap from behind, like sniffing the behind. Some space opened up on the inside of that red Ferrari. I'll slot my Ferrari up into that and we'll get 6th place. He wasn't too happy about that though, and I feel like he had more than enough time to see I was going for that move and didn't have to collide with me. But here, coming through the S's, clearly making his intentions known as he's spun me around, kept the throttle down, and continued on. We've clearly got an angry little elf on our hands. He almost spun the guy up ahead out as well. We'll move ahead of him and thankfully forget about him for pretty much the rest of the race. Except he's got one more chance to make an appearance, and he's going to get the most of his face time here. Almost spin me out again. Nearly, but we got away with it. Through the final corner, our Aston Martin friend from earlier struggling to put the power down, and we'll go up the inside of him into 4th place. And then we'll skip ahead. Lap 6, the final lap of the race. We've got a Porsche up ahead. I've been tracking him down for 3 laps, and he doesn't have any penalties. So if I'm going to beat him, I've got to beat him by more than a second, or else he's going to have that podium. And I want that podium for no other reason than I want the whole lobby to see that I put a Batman symbol on my Ferrari. So here we go, off the oval track, back into the infield. We've got a back marker there. Thankfully ghosted. I'll hold him to the inside, look for the cutback through the penultimate corner. We've got it done, and around the final corner, I really try to put that power down. It looks like I've done it. Got ahead by 1.2 seconds, so we'll get the podium, and I think he must have been dealing with some tire wear. Usually those Porsches are just off the charts good through the corners. Over to Spa now. I'm trying a new strategy called qualifying. Someone told me that that helps you win races, so we'll see how it pans out here. Not too sure how I feel about it yet. I'm also on soft tires, so I know I can get through 2 full laps. These tires will be fine. That 3rd lap, these things are going to be screaming bloody murder. It's going to be tough to finish that last one. And, well, I'm already making it look difficult on completely new soft tires. Losing traction through Eau Rouge, and ended up cutting the track as a result of that. So 1/10 of a second worth of penalties for me. The Formula 1 car not getting a penalty, and then out of nowhere, a 50 cal bullet in the form of a saline goes flying right by. He'll be off the racing line, leaves the track, rejoins where I've made contact with him on the right side of the track, and then more collisions going on between me and the Ferrari. I think I probably should have backed out of that one. That was a risky play up the inside, and more contact going on, this time between the Ferrari and the saline, and that'll just continue. They're not happy with each other now. This has all fallen into my hands pretty well. Pozo out-qualified me, so if they keep battling, he'll keep falling behind, and I'll just need to catch up to the Porsche here, who I out-qualified, so I've got some confidence that I can catch him and beat him. And on lap 2, I've gone for the move. Up into 1st place we go. Unfamiliar territory, that's for sure, so we'll just need to hold it for the rest of the race. Lap 3, here's where that tire wear comes in that I was talking about earlier. All 4 tires are in the orange, and I've overrun the track limits. Now, where I only had 0.6 of penalties, I've now got 1.2 seconds. The guy behind, 1.4. So if I stay ahead or I'm only slightly behind, I can still pull out the win, but he is right back there and going for the move through the final corner, up the inside. I've got the acceleration down the straight, but that Porsche is super quick. He's still hanging around. We'll get it done, though. Almost pulled off the signature old tires choke, but not this time. And there's that Ferrari finishing in 3rd, the Saline helping a brother out. I don't see him on the leaderboard, so he must have fallen off or left. We'll travel over to Japan for 4 laps around Suzuka, and immediately we've got guys spinning around. It's a straight, and some guys smoking weed out here, blowing smoke into everybody's cars, and I've got a pretty good idea of who was doing it. It's this guy up here that's spun and ate some tire rows. He needed a snack. He got the munchies. More evidence can be seen here of people driving under the influence of the ganja, just getting pushed right off. The McLaren behind, getting right by us. 4 guys are off the track on the left side. We're watching their safety ratings, and my brain cells decline at a rapid pace. One of these days I'm going to post a video, and the commentary is just going to be like, and you'll know. Joey lost his last brain cell. It's all over. Time to go find another shitty YouTube channel to watch. But this shitty YouTube channel just got by Jimmy Johnson. So say what you will. Oh, and this guy just died instantly. Hit the wall, and it basically just gripped the car and brought it to a halt. 0 miles per hour in 0.001 seconds. Here we pass some guy that was off the track, and now trying to get around the Porsche before we get to the chicane, and we do. That'll do it for lap 1. So right here, we'll pass the pits, cross the line, start of lap 2, and almost immediately we get a drop. So either Ron Jeremy just spewed some suspicious milky white substance on my screen, or it's starting to rain. And to be totally honest, I don't know which one I'd rather have. Mainly because I was having flashbacks to race number 1 at Maple Valley, where, of course, hit the wall and then hit the wall again and quit. So that's a lovely memory. And the great thing about Forza is that the weather changes pretty much immediately. You can see some raindrops coming down right now, and you would expect the track to be damp, but I'd put this more in the wet category already. Like, it's only been a minute, and we're already pretty wet. And we'll get an example of just how wet it is. The guy up ahead hydroplaning or something, going straight off into the wet sand, and we'll move up into a top 5 spot. At the end of the lap, you can tell it's getting a little more wet, but not too much. So I opted to stay out again, which again is making me scared because this guy in the Ferrari went in. So the questioning my decision making continued, but in the end, it wouldn't really get that much worse. The medium tire seemed to do the job just fine, and we'd come home in 4th place. And after that rocky start, I'll take it. Alright, let's finish this video off at Mugello. The Ferrari has been killing it, actually. The PI loss has not really been noticeable. It's been holding its own out there, which is cool to see, even though we've got a little bit of a handling disadvantage, but the acceleration is really, really nice, which is keeping us in these races. And what you thought might have been the first clean turn 1 of the video has turned into absolute dog shit. I'm glad I took the grass route out of there, or else we would have been making that 8 wide. So if you were wondering if it's a good idea to go 8 wide through a corner, now you know. These guys, I thought they were going to turn in, but they ended up just taking each other off the track, which is great. At least they did it holding hands. That's true friendship. I'm sure they stayed very close the rest of the race. Around the right-hander, out of the S's, we're going to get the run on the Lamborghini. On the brakes, down into 2nd gear for the chute, and we've got a Lamborghini and a Formula 1 car fighting it out up front. I was able to carry a bit more speed than they were through there, so slamming on the brakes, making sure I don't run into them. Then this guy goes full Donkey Kong.
You know what DK stands for? Donkey Kong.
Shout out to this guy for saving it. He was facing like 90 degrees the other way. Not sure how he kept it on the track, but he did. His nuts are probably inverted, but he's alive, so I'm sure he'll take it, and obviously the recent events are playing on his mind. Both him and the Lamborghini have gone deep, and I'll happily move up into 5th place, so the top 5, good deal. On the run down to the last turn, I'll power by this Ferrari, but I'm carrying so much speed that I'm going to end up going deep. The space on the inside is more than enough for him to hang around. I'll try to hold it around the outside, even though the handling isn't great in this thing, but we just about hold it. And on lap 2, we caught up to the lead pack. It's going to be a 4-way battle for 1st place, and we're driving in close proximity, so hovering over that brake, tapping it when I need to, just making sure that I don't absolutely crush anyone's chances of taking home a victory here. Around the blind uphill right-hander now, a very, very tough corner with some harsh consequences. If you get it wrong, I'm looking up the inside of the Audi, thought about it, wasn't quite there, backed out. We'll get it somewhere else. Continuing to follow that Audi through past the Ferrari, using that slipstream, getting up alongside the Audi now, and we've got 2nd place, so a couple of positions there through that corner. Now it's time to eye up a move on 1st place, or at least I thought. I was driving way too well, and I needed to remind myself that I'm mediocre like Crabtree. So get back in 5th place, you mediocre loser, and try to make those spots back up again, which I would give it a try. So here we are, end of the straight, turn 1, lap 3, caught back up to the group. Porsche, who was in 1st place, is now in 3rd place, so positions flopping. Looks like that F50 is up into 1st, or is that the F40? I didn't get a good look at it before. We'll have a chance to see once we get back up there. But around the outside of the Porsche, that's 1 position gained back. Now we got to close the gap to 2nd place, which has gone up to about 7/10. Down the chute we go, closing that gap pretty quickly now. Right up onto the back of them, 3/10 behind. So I'm sure the Audi is just ecstatic to have the aero wash problems back as he's trying to make a pass on 1st place. Back through the uphill right-hander, on the exit, the F40, going defensive, the Audi moving over to the left, take the racing line, a dive up my inside from the Porsche. Bold move, sir, bold move. Carlos piss off. Are you telling Carlos to piss off, or there's piss off Carlos's last name? This is very important information for the commentary in the heat of the battle here. We're coming up on that chicane that beached me last lap, so this time around, making sure to feather that throttle, take as much of the curve as I possibly can, carry all the speed that I possibly can through the exit alongside the F40, braking later. And is he going to try it up the inside? It looks like he's not going to have the chance. And down the straight, I think I've got the speed advantage on that Audi, and we'll watch that time gap start to come down as we eat up all of this slipstream, crossing the line, start of the final lap, and we are by the Audi up into first place. Do we see a dive up the inside into turn one? It looks like they were just too far back, and that is going to do it for this race. Was able to build that gap up to about 3 seconds, and the guy behind actually had 1.2 seconds in penalties. So it ended up being a pretty nice victory and a really fun battle for those 3 laps there. And that brings an end to the adventures in the Ferrari Batmobile, as crazy as that sounds. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, do all the stuff the YouTubers tell you to do at the ends of videos, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Alrighty, bye everybody.